Welcome to Octane Mobile Gaming. Once again to the channel, I'm Octane, and today we take a look at possible deck combination. So the deck that I showed you yesterday, which is this one, is the deck that I'm actually running for this event. The reason why I'm using this deck, it's a one-turn deck, it's really powerful, and it gets the job done very quickly. Now, the cards on this deck work quite well together. So we've got Lost Kingdom Guardian. Lost Kingdom Guardian will create 7 power gem 5s. It will double this number of gems on its first activation because it's got a passive which is called Ambush. So Ambush is the second of the passive. So Ambush, the first time you use this hero's battle skill in a battle, it has an additional effect, and the additional effect is that it doubles the amount of power gem that this card creates. It also increases the turn count of the enemy. Now on your second activation of this card, you will only get 7 power gems and you will not get the turn delay. However, you will still get the turn delay effect, which will affect Jailer's passive, giving you that boost to your attack output. So this card is really good. Next up, we've got Frozen Devastation. I have chosen to add Frozen Devastation to this combo simply because I've got that 6 pink star and it's awoken 4 times. This allows me to deal quite significant damage with this card. It's my main damage dealer, plus it's got a bonus attack which gives me a nuke at the end, which is 200% of the main damage. So say I was to deal 300 trillion, the nuke damage would be 600 trillion, which is quite significant. The next card is Watchers of the Wave. It's the ultra rare for Lost Kingdom Guardian, and it does pretty much the same thing as Lost Kingdom Guardian. It creates 14 power gem on the first activation of its battle skill. On the second activation, it creates 7. It increases the enemy turn count as well on its first activation, but on the second activation, you get the effect which affects the Jailer's passive. Next card up is Auspicious Defender. This card is primarily there for the killer skill because it doesn't produce a lot of power gems and it doesn't produce high level power gems. It only produces 4 power gem 2s, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot, not really powerful, but every little helps. Now, this is the card that brings the whole thing together, the Jailers, which needs no introduction. So the Jailers increases enemy turn count by 1. It creates 5 Earth Power Gem freeze, plus 1 additional for every 100 Arcane Killer intensity. It's got a 6 turn cooldown, but none of that actually matters to this deck. What actually matters to this deck is the passive Optimism. Whenever a hero delays the enemy turn, it increases Arcane Killer attack by 1200% for 1 turn. So we've got 2 cards which will give us a turn delay, and on the second activation of the battle skill, it will give us the effect which will actually activate the passive on this card. Now the beauty about this setup is it's a 1-turn deck and I don't need to power up the Jailers. So I'm running all water relics. Now I'm running the ultimate relic for Auspicious Guardians, which is a chaotic killer relic. It's at 3 pink star, so it's gonna break 4 shields for me. I'm also running the rare relic, and I'm running a copy of the main relic. I'm also running the blistering blaster, which is at 2 pink star. This is for Frozen Devastation, and I'm running the rare relic for Frozen Devastation as well. We're gonna go straight into a battle. We're gonna see this deck in action, and then we're gonna look at a few more combinations that I put together. But these combinations are combinations that you could basically use if you haven't got anything else, but they're not really powerful and they're not gonna really compete very well in the Legend League. Currently I'm in the Legend League, and as you can see, I'm at 179, even though I've got a relatively good deck. Now, I always speak about the Legend League and tell you guys that it's a very difficult league. It's the league where people spend a lot of cash. So we're going to go into this battle and we're going to use 3 keys. Hopefully I've got the right deck because I didn't check the deck. So my internet is buffering quite a lot today. I've been having a lot of trouble. So we've got the right deck up. So what we're going to do first, we're going to wait on our relics to populate the board. The gems crush, and then I'm gonna activate from right to left, because that's the way how I play, from right to left. But you can activate it from left to right, it doesn't really matter. The activation sequence doesn't really matter. I'm gonna swap my gems, swap my power gems, and I'm just gonna allow the deck to do its thing. So if you look at Frozen Devastation, it is doing 339 trillion. Lost Kingdom Guardian is actually doing 124 trillion. Now, if I manage to get the nuke off, which is on the second turn, you get that nuke effect, I would have actually got probably about 50%. But as you can see, with the main attack, I actually got 20%, which is not too bad. So if we can find another boss and we can get in there quickly, and if we can get the nuke to go off, then we can actually steal the MVP. So hopefully we get some good gems on the board. Let's get the crush, and then we activate everything. Let's see the type of gems that we have on the board. That's not a bad layout. And let's see the damage, if we've got more damage. 382 trillion, 140 trillion, 99 trillion, 19 trillion for auspicious defenders. Again, 20%. So it's quite quick, it's quite powerful. However, we are really relying on the nuke damage to actually give us the ability to actually get 50%. Now, if you don't get the nuke damage off, you won't get 50%. But if you do manage to get the nuke damage off, you can get the 50%, and probably even get the MVP. So we're gonna try it just twice more and see if we can manage to actually get the MVP. So if you look to the side, you can see we've got 2 stacks of optimism. And this, okay, so we didn't get the nuke damage off. So we got 393 that time. Again, so damage is quite significant. So let's take a look at one more combination. So the next combination is this one. And this one is focusing primarily on Chaotic Killer. Now the card that is giving me the boost for the Chaotic Killer is this one, Lioness of the Sea. And Lioness of the Sea will give us 1300% attack increase if we've got 16 or more water gems on the board. It doesn't matter if it's water gems or power gems, as long as you've got 16 on the board, you will get that passive. It will also moderately increase the drop rate of water gems for 3 turns. This effect increases with every stack of Chaotic Killer intensity. Then it creates 4 water power gem 5s plus 1 additional for every 100 Chaotic Killer intensity. It's got a 3-turn cooldown. Now, moderately increase doesn't mean anything. You won't notice the effect. Anyway, you'll probably get free water gems on the board when that actually kicks in. So moderately doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things. Numbers actually are more significant. So if they said the next 60 gems have the possibility to be water gems, that would be far more important. Lost Kingdom of Guardian, again, this is going to create a lot of my water power gems. Watchers of a Wave, again, does the same thing. This time we're not relying on the ability to delay the enemy, we're relying on its ability to actually create those 14 power gem 5s on the first activation of their battle skill. Guardian of Island is going to be one of my main damage dealer alongside Auspicious Defender. Now this one doesn't really create a lot of power gem. It only creates 6 power gem 4s, and it creates them based on intensity. You start with 2, then it increase by 1 for every 75 water slayer skill point that's on the board. So basically you can say that you're only going to generate 2 water power gem 4s, so it doesn't really generate a lot of power gems. Auspicious Guardian, again, as I said, doesn't really generate high level power gems, and it doesn't generate a lot of power gems as well because it's intensity based. However, it does give you a 30% attack increase, and it increased by 3% per 10 chaotic killer intensity. So you have to get the intensity quite high before that it becomes really significant. So this deck is not going to be that powerful. It might be quick, but it's not going to be powerful. It's going to take quite a number of turns before you can actually deal significant damage to the boss. By the time you get to that stage, the boss is already dead, or you have run out of time. This is basically the same combination, but we have got Phantom Unseen and Bloody Mary. Those are the 2 that will do pretty much the same thing as Watchers of the Wave. However, these 2 are able to create between them are able to create a full board of power gems every single time you activate their battle skill. This, however, is dependent on this relic. So if you haven't got the ultimate relic for Phantom Unseen, you won't be able to generate a full board of power gem on turn 1 unless you've got 2 Bloody Marys on the board and you activate both of those cards before Phantom Unseen, or vice versa. Phantom Unseen, 1 Bloody Mary, then you can create a full board of power gem. Because what this does is Gushing Wound is the passive that is actually gonna allow Phantom Unseen to generate 2 Bloody Marys instead of 1. So Phantom Unseen will speak Bloody Mary twice when they use their battle skill while this relic is equipped. So if this relic isn't equipped, you won't get 2 Bloody Marys speak from Phantom Unseen. But as long as you've got that one on the board, you're able to use only these 2 cards, and you can create a full board of power gem from either one. Whichever you activate last will create a full board of power gem. So it makes it a bit more reliable when it comes to power gem production, rather than its counterpart using Lost Kingdom Guardian. Now this one is absolutely useless. It's pointless as well, so it's no point looking at that one. Now this one I tried out. So I was looking for a deck that was not an event deck, and it was a deck that could be accessible. Now, as I said yesterday, if you have been playing for a long time, you probably would have had the chance to obtain a copy of the Ultra Rare and the Master Collection card for this particular Ultimate form. If you were lucky enough to get 1 copy of the main card, you should be lucky enough if you went into the pack and played the event to get 2 support cards. So you could put 2 support card, 1 event card, 1 Guardian of Island, and this one, however, is not really that accessible. However, if you've got the Ultra Rare on its own, like I do, you could add it to the combo. This is a deck that will perform very well in the Paladin League. You could use this deck within the Kings League to stop yourself from being demoted, but you're not going to use a deck like this to be promoted or actually finish in the top 10 in, say, Kings League or even Emperor League. It's not going to work because it's not really powerful, but it is a deck that can be used within the event, and it will perform not relatively well, it will perform okay, not brilliant. So let's see those decks in action. So first up, we're gonna look at the one that I think it's accessible. I wouldn't say it's cheap, I would say it's accessible. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna use 9 keys because we want to actually see the maximum amount of damage that it's able to deal. So as soon as your relics fill the board with gems and power gems and it crushes, you're just gonna activate all your cards, no particular order. Before we used to activate like the support card last to fill out the spaces, but there you go. Though that's the not really the maximum number of power gems, because as slaying skill points increase, Guardian of Island will actually, so you can see 9 trillion for Guardian of Island, and that's the maximum damage output for that combination. So it's not really a powerful combination. It's okay, but it's not powerful. A good one, I would say, would generate anything over 75 trillion per card. So let's look at another one. Let's look at this one. Or let's look at this one first. I'm going to use 3 keys. We want to see the maximum amount of damage that it's able to deal. And with this one, you can activate Bloody Mary before Phantom Unseen or vice versa. Either one you activate, you will create a full board of power gem. So I get 1 from her, and then I get 2 from this one, enabling me to create a full board of power gem 4s. And that's a type of board that I have after activating all my cards. And as you can see, 107 trillion and 94 trillion. So 94 trillion for Auspicious Guardian and 104 for Guardian of Island, because that one is at 2 pink star. So let's look at the same combination but using 2 different cards to generate my power gems. The difference is with Bloody Mary Speak and Phantom Unseen, you can fill the board with power gem each time you activate their battle skill. You are only able to create your 14 power gem using Lost Kingdom Guardian and Watchers of a Wave on turn 1. So again, activation sequence, left to right, right to left, doesn't really matter. Let's swap our power gems and let's see the maximum damage this deck is able to deal. So 152 trillion for Guardian of Island, 133 trillion for Auspicious Defenders. And the difference between the damage output with the one using Phantom Unseen and the one using Lost Kingdom Guardian is simply because of the level of power gem created by both decks. Lost Kingdom Guardian creates power gem 5s. Phantom Unseen creates power gem 4s. Even if they weren't crushed, they would still generate different damage output. So if you have cards that create power gem 5s and you got cards that create power gem 6, it depends really on what you've got and how they work together, because not every card, because they create higher level of power gem, actually works well on a particular deck. You have to put together cards that work together. So Lost Kingdom Guardian works quite well in the combinations that I've put it in. Phantom Unseen, it works okay in the combination that I've put it in. However, it doesn't give you a big bang for your buck like Lost Kingdom Guardian. But if it's what you've got, you have to use what you got to achieve what you want. If you've got Watchers of the Wave and Lost Kingdom Guardian, put it in, use what you got to achieve what you want. However, if you've got the cards that have got, you can create the main deck that I showcased earlier. The main deck, as I said, it's quick, it's powerful, and you've got that nuke damage at the end, which the nuke damage really helps, because it's 200% off the main attack of Frozen Devastation, because it's not based off the deck itself. The nuke damage is based on the damage that is dealt by Frozen Devastation. So if you have a question, leave it in the comment section below. But until next time, this is Octane saying, like, subscribe, and stay safe. Peace.